How about speaking of contracts and stuff like that in space? Ben, can you throw up that the link to the Spaceflight Now article? So I haven't been able to read the bill, but I've been reading a couple different articles and opinions on this. But basically, a bill went through the House this week that was kind of throwing the whole Moon 2024 Habitat on the Moon thing out the window. Like, even though we're making, for once, really good progress at on a pace that I want to actually see happen, and this bill is trying to totally strip that and saying, like, basically just a quick little bit on the moon in 2028, and then all of a sudden, like, use that as a stepping stone to get to Mars by 2033. And we're getting to that point where we're pushing Mars out beyond 10 years again. It's like, wait. But you guys want to know what's even crazier about this? You know what else this calls for? I will tell you.
Please continue.
It also calls for the expanded SLS module. So the full, right now, they're just kind of on the block 1 or the block, I think block A or whatever it is. This talks about having the full upper stage SLS used for all these missions and canceling all these the commercial partners and only having Boeing produce a lander or a single contractor. And it's, insinuating Boeing be the single contractor to make the lander too, and also talk about all these other things, and basically saying, like, yeah, by 2028 we can have all these things, blah, blah, blah. And guess who wrote this bill?
This
Please tell us.
person, Kendra Horn.
Basically Boeing wrote this bill.
Oh, gotcha.
You mean they
Yeah.
wrote it and it favors them? I don't understand how that works.
Or they just lobbied intensely to get it made in their favor. Why would
Yes.
any business ever do that? That doesn't make sense.
So this is really, 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 really frustrating because we were finally seeing, and luckily I don't think it's going to make it even through the House, because it makes no sense. Like, we're already making really genuinely good progress on the Artemis program. And not only does the Artemis is maybe this is why this bill is going through, because the Artemis is leaning less and less on SLS and starting to say, like, hey, commercial partners, get us a lunar lander, do all these things that don't necessarily require the SLS rocket. And this is Boeing being like, hey, I know, let's throw out a bill that says you have to use SLS. You have to do everything with Boeing. And then when it gets denied, they can be like, well, we asked for this. Can we come to some kind of compromise? It might be that crazy, like, ask for everything. And then hope that, SLS gets a few more contracts and things like that. But this is just politics, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
I just want to say real quick, there's something really fun about hearing you say less and less on SLS. Wait, less and less on SLS. Less and less on SLS. You said that earlier, and I just started laughing. Less and less on SLS.
I like that.
The blah, 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 blah.
And yes. Or what was the other one that I thought of the other day? Oh, yeah, something about dolphin. A Finnish dolphin fin. Yeah, I don't remember.
That was last week.
Eating a dolphin fin.
Yeah.
Is Boeing becoming the bad guy? Or have they always been a bad guy? I mean,
They might not be much of a guy anymore after yesterday's earnings report.
Man.
I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh, how bad is it?
Well, it's okay.
Because of the 737 MAX?
Just one quick statement, because you guys know I hate the stock market and I hate investors, the big guys. And yes, if you don't listen to my financial advice ever, okay, just flat out, just don't do it. But
Mr.
Boeing,
Teslanomics.
yeah, Boeing, $18.6 billion is how much the 737 MAX grounding is going to cost them. Because now they've like stopped production on it. They're like no longer making it. Right. And these things are $100 million products, and they take multiple years to make. So big problem. Right. Not to mention all the space stuff happening with Boeing as well. Right. But like just on the more probably the thing that people more know them for, honestly, the planes.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So what do you think the stock does when they post terrible earnings, the CEO's canned, and this whole thing is just going to be stripping them a huge profits here? What do you think the stock does?
I would assume it would drop like crazy.
Yeah. It went up.
Yeah. What?
Yep. 1%. which is significant.
No. What?
1% can be a lot. I mean,
but
it's not nothing.
How?
Because the stock market and reality are divorced.
Yeah.
They are seeing other people. Okay, they've been living in separate houses.
Oh my god.
The kids are wondering what's happening. But trust me, they are seeing other people. And this has been a big part of my premise, looking at the stock market. Like the saying goes, the stock market is not the economy, and the economy is not the stock market. And here's just a classic example. Like probably the layoff that you mentioned. I don't know if Bigelow is a public company or not, but probably if they laid off an entire division, hundreds, potentially thousands of people, their stock probably went up. Yeah. Right. And it's like, yay, we're going to make more money. All the people that own the company, the whole concept of shareholder value. Well, who's the biggest shareholder? It's usually, the chairman of the board and the CEO. Yeah. So shareholder value, which means make me richer. That's what the CEO is saying. That just to me, it's one of those things. But who knows? So, yeah, the stock market likes Boeing's epic fails. So maybe this will actually work out against them. Maybe this is like a bill that goes through and is totally in Boeing's favor, and the stock market's like, oh no, down, boo.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. It sounds dumb. It sounds like something that was sponsored by, this episode sponsored by Boeing.
Well, they've had a pretty no good, very bad year, it seems like. And I think there's a lot, especially SpaceX fans, that are kind of like really happy to see that. I've never been one of those people. I want to see, people succeed and whatnot. But, this whole like ramming a bill through that you've written that very clearly favors you instead of innovating and being a better company, let's go, tweak the rules a little bit so that we have, the advantage. That's
the name of the game, man.
Super lame.
That's the name of the game.
I really try not to be villainizing, and I really feel like the people that I know at Boeing are awesome, hardworking people. The people that I've met that work for Boeing just want to, do great things and build great spacecraft,
sure.
Et cetera, et cetera. So it's hard when you see things like this that are clearly just like, again, out of touch with reality, that it's like, yeah, when you're spending more money on lobbying to make sure that your thing that no one wants is being purchased, like, you should probably change the way you're doing things. Like, maybe that's just not smart in the long run.
Can I beat the person that's trying to write this in the comments right now? That's reality, guys. Wake up, sheeple.
That reminds me.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys ever see this? Is the XKCD? XKCD? Is that what it is? Is that who wrote this?
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, about kind of about what you're talking about. Just the different tech companies and kind of how they're laid out. And one of them, this isn't actually the one. It had Apple here, and it was like engineers were like 1% of the pie, and then like 99% of Apple's company was lawyers.
Yeah,
because their whole job
that
is
looks
just
like Oracle right there.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly. So yeah, maybe this was before Apple grew to be bigger, but it's just a funny kind of thing. Like,
that's funny.
The legal teams of these companies, like it's pathetic. I get that there are legit reasons for lawyers to exist, but it just seems, the stereotype of like they always win and basically everyone else gets screwed. It just seems to be kind of true over and over again, right?
Right.
Yeah. Hopefully that's not this.
Man.
Hopefully this bill gets crushed. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. What are you guys talking
here's
about?
the thing. So it goes to the House and it goes to the Senate, and then it would actually go to the president's desk. And there's no way Donald Trump would sign this because it says it puts everything he's been saying about the Artemis mission and his administration returning humans to the moon, like it just absolutely squashes all of that. So I really hope that it gets the kibosh even before that. I think the House likely or Senate, someone's going to step up and be like, no, even though the Senate really likes the SLS, I just don't see how this will make it too far. I think someone's going to speak up and be like, wait, aren't they the ones that we already have paid, $20 $20 billion for a rocket that hasn't flown yet, and blah blah blah. You know.
Well, and depending on when it gets, if it did all that and made it to the president's desk, it depends when that happens, right? Because we're in an election year, so if it
that's true.
I don't
depends on who the president is.
Well, yeah, but I don't know how. Can you have a bill like introduced and all? Is there a time limit on them? You know, or is it kind of like, we can wait 5 years before we actually call it to vote? You know what I mean?
I have no
know.
idea.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We need a political expert here to explain this process to us.
Political analyst.
Yeah.
God knows
And
we
why
need
don't we
more
just
politics in this podcast.
Hey, thanks for checking us out, guys. I hope you enjoyed this clip from our podcast.
We do a weekly show here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to Our Ludicrous Future, where we discuss all the things that are going to make our future totally ludicrous.
You can join us here on YouTube or at any of your favorite podcast places. Plus, if you want to get some behind-the-scenes stuff and join a cool community, you can help support the channel at patreon.com. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.